God gonna get that get back for you. He gonna do it. You don't even gotta worry about it. I know it hurt. I know that they did you wrong. But leave it alone. God saw the whole thing from start to finish. Every lie, every betrayal. You don't have to chase justice when God already knows the truth. You don't have to do it. While they're busy thinking that they got away with it, God is busy working it out for you. Your job is just to heal. God gonna handle the rest.
My darling Fumi Nation, we are back with summer colors, my darling. The Power Puff t-shirt, darlings, is back for you. We have the pink and the yellow. You asked, my darling, and I said, why not? Available for you now. A lot of them have already sold out. A lot of you really love the colors. Don't worry, I'll bring it back. But I just live and love. I am wearing the pink, as you can see, the most gorgeous ever. And we have what is delayed, not denied in the back of them. We still got the white ones for those of you that still want them. What is delayed is not denied. We also have the powder blue. The powder blue was such a success. We still have some more for you, my darlings. So the pink and the yellow are the colors for summer 2026. And of course, for my dark girlies, we have what is delayed, not denied, the black. Our tote bags, which of course you can put into the pocket, and it's compact for shopping, for going to the gym. We also have the white, tangerine orange, as well as the powder blue, which, darlings, are absolutely fabulous, and you can take them everywhere. Compact, and then you have it on the out. Such fun colors, my darlings. And again, like I said, you have the big pocket on the inside, and that is what you use to fold in the bag. You're going to yoga, you're going to the supermarket, you're going away for the weekend, you want to put all of your beauty products in there. Darlings, it's for you. Happy shopping, my darlings, and I hope you love the summer colors. All of my love. Mwah. Hello, my darling Fumi Nation. How are you? How are we? Woo! Nolan Wells. I have never seen a case like this. And I have never seen a case get so much attention on a global scale without having the final results of the toxicology report and the autopsy. Even having an autopsy that has come out undetermined. This case has grown so many legs. And in all this time, I have tried to maintain on the straight and narrow, meaning that all I want to know is what happened to Nolan Wells. What happened to him? That's it. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, because the truth of the matter is that we don't know. We don't know. He went to Horn Island with his friends. He said, according to his friends, that he wanted to stay back with a girl called Katie. We are finding out that he only just met this Katie girl that day at Horn Island. We have Katie's friend / sister who says he spoke to her and then he went about his business. That would be Nolan Wells. That he did not really necessarily speak with her that long, and also Katie said that, before he went his merry way. We have two people, according to other people, who say they saw Nolan Wells at around 6 p.m. We don't know who those two people are, and those two people have not come up to verify and say, yes, we saw Nolan at 6 p.m. If Nolan was my son, I will be asking questions. I will be asking questions because I want to know what happened to him, so that I can what? I can grieve. We have the very well-known Harvey Levine of TMZ, and he was speaking to Mark Gargos, and I don't think Harvey liked what he was hearing. Everybody has to come to the yard and let us find out exactly what happened. Until then, we have to be very calm. We have to be very calm and wait and see where each piece will lead us. I know you're going to love this conversation because I know I did. Sit back, grab a drink, and listen.
So, Mark, now some of Nolan Wells' friends are getting angry that Ben Crump has insinuated, and I think this is a fair statement, insinuated that there might be foul play in Nolan's death and that maybe some of the friends were involved, and there's even this overlay of racism. And the father of one of the friends now says he's considering suing for defamation. This is a really interesting case because it's a very public case. Ben Crump represents the family, and they are trying to put pressure on authorities in Mississippi to do a thorough investigation. They have their suspicions about whether they will or not, and they are raising these issues. What do you think about the notion that if you put a cloud over somebody without directly saying they're responsible, that in itself could be defamation?
Well, it depends on where you are, and there's kind of robust law on this defamation by implication versus defamation.
But that's what we're talking about. So I mean,
it's defamation.
What about that? Just as a principle, about
and I have watched some of these interviews, and not the least of which the governor has come out and made some rather harsh statements, calling Ben Crump a liar, and there's been other people who have said this. He's doing what you would want a lawyer to do. I know that when I read the comments, which you don't do, which I do religiously, there'll be a lot of people saying, well, you're just another lawyer. But understand something. If you're a mother and a father and you've lost your child, what you want are answers, and that's what you're looking for. I know that people don't like it, and I know that it's framed in such a way that it can polarize, but the fact remains that there are people who have lost a child, and they should be able to get the answers that they want. So I do take issue with some of the kind of pushback that they've been getting, and there are lines that are drawn, but I haven't seen anything so far that crosses a line into defamation by implication.
Well, okay, so let's talk about this. Do you agree that Crump has put a cloud over the heads of Nolan Wells' white friends?
No, I don't agree with that. I think that
really,
I don't think he's put a cloud. I think he's asking questions. I think the fact that there wasn't an autopsy that was revealed, at least to the parents. I go back to...
Well, no. That just happened. That just happened. They just finished. The autopsy is done. It's sealed. But that's not what Ben Crump was talking about. I'm talking early on, before any autopsy was completed. When news conferences were held, when they were talking about... they were raising suspicions about his friends, and he brought race in. And look, I'm not saying race wasn't involved, but should there be a presumption going in that it is involved?
No, you shouldn't have a presumption.
You don't think that was the specter of that was raised very early on?
I think the fact that as I often say, race permeates virtually everything.
Johnny Cochran said that. You didn't.
Yeah, well, Johnny was a mentor, so I listened to him and watched him, and before Johnny, there were others in LA who said the same thing. I mean, it is something that permeates our American system, I mean, for hundreds of years.
It is, but look, it's one thing to say, I don't think Nolan Wells and his family are going to get a fair shake, because that hasn't been the way investigations go in Mississippi, where you make a broad comment like that. Mm-hmm. But when you start lasering in on individuals before knowing whether they were involved or not, and you raise it publicly, because look, the stepmother of one of these kids has been getting, she's a judge, she's getting death threats. They've arrested a guy for that. Frankly, everybody's getting death threats in this case, on both sides. So,
which, by the way, points out exactly what I'm saying. It's a polarizing issue. It's exactly, look at the guy, the death threats person who was arrested was more than just a death threat or an idle threat. I mean, it was awful in terms of what they were saying.
Yeah, but again,
both ways.
Who's stoking the coals on that?
Well, I don't know that. I know that it's easy to say somebody is stoking the coals, and Ben is polarizing, and I've known.
And I like Ben, but
so
I'm saying,
I like Ben a lot.
I do too. But I got to say, in this case, it felt, and look, they have a right to answers for sure, and they have a right to question things, but when you start bringing up race, and and then pointing at individuals. I mean, look, they brought up race, but this was the school he had gone to, the high school, was mostly white, and when we talked to his coach, and he said, look, he had great friends, and they were white, and it wasn't a big deal to any of them that there was a black kid and white kids and whatever. They were just they were pals.
I saw interviews with some of them, and they said the same thing.
I know, but look, I'm not saying that race was not involved here. It may have been, or it may have been just a tragic accident. But
I don't know that I would go so far as to say, I haven't seen anything so far that leads me to believe that there's race has driven anything other than.
You would agree the issue's been raised.
Yeah, I was going to say, other than the fact that the discussion is framed in terms of race,
and that's the problem. It's like listen. It may be that this is a racial death, but if there's evidence of it, then you pursue it. But out of the gate, when you raise it, and when you raise it in the context of specific kids, it's going to damage their lives, right?
I'd love to see the interview and be able to point to the interview and critique it in real time instead of talking in more generalities. Thank you. Because what Ben Crump is extremely effective in doing is bringing attention to a case.
Right.
And that is what he is very skilled at.
Yes.
And he does that and has repeatedly done that with great effect. And so how can you fault somebody if you're a parent of somebody who's lost a son or a child or a loved one? You want somebody who's going to bring attention to it so that you can try to get some transparency or get some answers. So
here's one of the problems. So now we have a video of these kids that he went with going back from Horn Island in the mid-afternoon of July 4th, and Nolan is not in that boat.
Is this the one that you enhanced the audio?
Yeah, but the thing about the audio is Nolan's not on the boat. And so if Nolan's not in the boat, the audio doesn't really make sense the way.
Well, except there is you could think, if you listen.
How far is the water coming up, sir? It's coming up. We're just thinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
There was talk about the boat sinking, and you could.
Well, no. We know that because we have the dispatcher and the guy on the boat talking to each other. So yes, the boat was taking on water, and you do hear people talking, and it's garbled. But Nolan was not on that boat, and there are people.
Well, it's audio.
Let me just make the point.
Audio, so we don't know that for
There
sure.
are two people who say that who have told authorities that Nolan was on the island at 6
Correct.
p.m.
Correct. But Harvey, I don't. When you make the jump from the audio to we've got two people, I get it, but I just don't make that jump yet. All I'm saying is the audio consistent with the boat taking on water? Yes. With Nolan on the boat, I don't know.
Well, there's we have the video of the boat. He's not on the boat.
Guys, my name is ENITAN, hair coach. I am UK's first ever hair coach and a trichologist. We are a team of trichologists and hair coaches here in W6 London, and we help those who are desperate and have tried and everything else has failed. We look after those who have chronic scalp concerns, flaky, itchy scalp that's been going on for many years. We help those that have hair loss that has progressed instead of improved, and we help those that just generally want to have a better understanding of better quality hair, length, volume, and reduce that dryness. Visit us by clicking here.
Yesterday, I was on TMZ and I caught Harvey in a bold-faced lie. Yeah, but Harvey, how do you know? Has former officer Tatum, has he provided you guys with the metadata? Can you confirm to me right now that it was taken on July the 4th? Also, during the interview, Harvey had the nerve to confirm that Nolan was not on the boat. Excuse me, Harvey, as far as I know, the investigation is not complete.
He wasn't on that boat.
Hey, this is Trent Out Loud YouTuber. I think it's incredibly telling that a white woman goes out and shows us the threats she's getting, and within days there is an arrest. But there has been zero arrests when it comes to the Nolan Wells case. Do you have any idea how many threats Christine has gotten? How come there's nobody arresting for the people that are threatening her?
Well, no, listen, you first have to determine if there's foul play, right? And I don't know that they've determined that yet. So you don't go out and start arresting people until you know, A, if there's foul play, and B, who did it. But just because there hasn't been doesn't mean there's not a real investigation behind it.
Agreed. But now let's talk about that picture that you showed up of the boat. We got that picture from Officer Tatum, former Officer Tatum. How do we know when that picture was taken? We have no metadata. We have no proof. How do we know that? And also,
well, no, but what the video? It's not a pic. We're talking about.
Well, he put out pictures and video. But
I know, but the video, we can align the video with the distress call, and he wasn't on that boat.
Yeah, but Harvey, how do you know? Has former Officer Tatum, has he provided you guys with the metadata? Do you know 100% when that video and those pictures were taken? Can you confirm to me right now that it was taken on July the 4th?
That's what we have concluded based on everything we've looked at, metadata, talking to people, and aligning it with the distress call. Yeah. Now, look, anything is possible. I'm certainly not saying it wasn't foul play because I don't know. It's just, I think, jumping to conclusions at the beginning and starting to point fingers at people without really knowing. It may be fair, but what if it's really unfair and you're kind of tarnishing people who really shouldn't be tarnished? Shouldn't that be a concern?
I think if anybody who jumped to conclusions first was the Mississippi officers that jumped to conclusions 1 hour after finding his body and said, no evidence of foul play. They jumped to conclusions, not us.
Well, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
They just want the truth.
I think that's fair.
I just did a full breakdown of this TMZ interview. Make sure you check it out. Link in bio.
What we've kind of concluded based on video that we received is that Nolan was not on that boat, that's the boat at the beginning of the trip back from Horn Island.
Yeah.
And that Nolan is not on that boat, and that's the boat that went into distress a few minutes after leaving Horn Island. Nolan was not on that boat.
Hey, this is Trent Out Loud, YouTuber. I think the judge threats and the Benjamin Crump defamation lawsuit is just a distraction. I think it's incredibly telling that a white woman goes out and shows us the threats she's getting, and within days there is an arrest, but there has been zero arrest when it comes to the Nolan Wells case. Do you have any idea how many threats Christine has gotten? How come there's nobody arresting for the people that are threatening her?
Well, no, listen, you first have to determine if there's foul play, right? And I don't know that they've determined that yet. So you don't go out and start arresting people until you know, A, if there's foul play, and B, who did it. But just because there hasn't been doesn't mean there's not a real investigation behind it.
Agreed. But now let's talk about that picture that you showed up of the boat. We got that picture from Officer Tatum, former Officer Tatum. How do we know when that picture was taken? We have no metadata. We have no proof. How do we know that? And also,
well, no, but what the video? It's not a pic. We're talking about.
Well, he put out pictures and video. But
I know, but the video, we can align the video with the distress call, and he wasn't on that boat.
Yeah, but Harvey, how do you know? Has former Officer Tatum, has he provided you guys with the metadata? Do you know 100% when that video and those pictures were taken? Can you confirm to me right now that it was taken on July the 4th?
That's what we have concluded based on everything we've looked at, metadata, talking to people, and aligning it with the distress call. Yeah. Now, look, anything is possible. I'm certainly not saying it wasn't foul play because I don't know. It's just, I think, jumping to conclusions at the beginning and starting to point fingers at people without really knowing. It may be fair, but what if it's really unfair and you're kind of tarnishing people who really shouldn't be tarnished? Shouldn't that be a concern?
I think if anybody who jumped to conclusions first was the Mississippi officers that jumped to conclusions 1 hour after finding his body and said, no evidence of foul play. They jumped to conclusions, not us.
Well, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
They just want the truth.
I think that's fair. I also think there is a spotlight on them right now, and they know they better do a thorough investigation.
Here's the thing I have with the video. Do we have a timestamp? Meaning, do we know if that video was recorded on the 4th of July? Because the kids themselves have said that we go out all the time, not only 4th of July, we go out all the time. This video could have been taken some other time. It could have also been taken maybe even last year, because they all went out last year. You know how it is on your phone. You get videos and pictures that come up from the year before. I just put up a video onto my Instagram that I took last year in Mykonos. That's the God honest truth. On top of which, we don't know if Nolan was on the boat. Remember, the audio said,
how far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just thinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
What makes us think that Nolan, if they're asking those kind of questions from the audio, that Nolan would be standing up and then be waving out into the sunshine? Would he not be lying down? So if he's lying down, how can we count him as one of the 7? Or maybe it was 8. When you're doing your investigations, please be thorough. We're not accusing anybody. We're just asking for answers. That's why the boat now has to be examined via forensics so that they can detect blood, saliva, all kinds of other things that you cannot easily wash away in the middle of the night. That's all I'm saying. Ask any thief. He'll tell you he didn't take it. Does that mean he's telling the truth? Ask everybody in prison. Did they do it? They say, no, I didn't do it. So we have to go by facts. We cannot be swayed by emotion. Harvey is swayed by emotion, talking about, oh, the children are getting death threats. I feel bad about that, especially if they're innocent of that. But Nolan's mom, who got a letter with a picture on it with Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump, or have we forgotten? It's on both sides. What I don't like Harvey is doing, that he's only talking about the white boys, and that's not fair. Talk about the entire case. Talk about how Nolan's parents are also going through it. Plus the boys are going through it. Plus the boys' parents are going through it. This is a case, like I've said, has become polarized, black and white. Let's not remove our eyes from the fact that there's a young boy of 18 that died here. And we just want to know what happened to him. That's it. But if you become defensive, then you're going to draw our attention towards you. Drop it down in the comments if you feel that I am being dramatic about this. Because at the end of the day, TMZ, you're fanning the flames for one side. Just shoot out with the facts, shoot out with what we've got, and we have to wait for the forensics, for the toxicology, at least for us to know in what direction we're going. You know why? Because we have not gotten any information about what was in the lungs. If there was water in the lungs, then we know that he drowned. If there was no water in the lungs, then we know, okay, fine, it was some kind of other foul play. We don't even have that. Until then, people are going to continue getting anxious and jumping from one thing to another. That's why it's stretching out the way that it is. Again, drop it down in the comments. Because the boys are lawyering up. The boys are suing. The boys are coming out with a GoFundMe for them. You cannot tell me that, yes, we have evidence that Nolan was not on the boat. Nolan could have been lying down. We don't know. Remember, they're saying that, was he dead? Was he in duress? Maybe he was sick, he was vomiting or whatever. He would not have been bending up. He would not have been standing up. He would not have been walking around the boat. He would never have been doing any of those things. He would have been lying down sick, which meant that any one of us that saw the boat, we would not have seen him in the boat. Drop it down in the comments, my darlings, and you let me know, Fumi, maybe you're exaggerating. Fumi, maybe it's a stretch. Just let me know. All of my love, my darlings. Do not forget to like, to subscribe. Hit the notification button, my darlings. And I'll see you I'll see you sooner than later. All of my love. I am so excited. I mean, talk about keeping it in the family. For those of you that don't know, I was a beauty queen. Yes, I was Miss West Africa 1990. Yes, decades ago. And then it's come back full circle with my beautiful niece Farah, who is competing to be Miss Alberta. I want you guys to sponsor, to support her. She has a wonderful support page. Please go right ahead and support her. Please, please, please. She is absolutely beautiful and amazing. I remember when Farah was born, and to see her now walking on stage and winning all of these beauty competitions just warms my heart. So I want to use my platform to spread the word out there. Please support my wonderful niece Farah and just click onto the link and give her all the support that you can. I will deeply, deeply, deeply I will deeply appreciate it. And Farah, congratulations. Congratulations. Well, you know you're my daughter anyway, because I don't have daughters. So you are my daughter. It doesn't matter who birthed you. You're my daughter. And I am so, so proud of you. Fumi Nation, this is the first. Yes, my darlings. The next generation doing wonderful and amazing things. And for Farah to walk out on these platforms and really follow in my steps, in my footsteps, I am absolutely speechless. And I want you to support her. Okay? All of my love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for everything. I love you guys. Mwah.